I'm Rebecca from Ingvid. In this lesson, you're going to learn prepositions with fun. Why fun? Because F stands for find out what's wrong, U stands for understand how to correct it, and N stands for nail it or master it with practice. Okay? In this lesson, I'll show you how to do all of those things for prepositions of time and place. So this is a special kind of lesson. This is what we call a diagnostic lesson. It helps you to diagnose or to know what's right and what's wrong. Because sometimes you're using different prepositions, but you're not really sure if it's right or wrong. And other times you're using it and you're sure it's right, but it's actually wrong. And you don't want to find out in an exam or some other important situation that it's actually the wrong preposition. So it's a good idea to find out right here. Okay? All right. So let's get started. So what we have here is I have 8 sentences, and you have to choose between different prepositions. Now, these are not just 8 sentences. These are also links to separate lessons on each and every one of these points, so that in case you get it wrong, I will refer you to the lesson that I have a full lesson on that particular point. Okay? So let's get started and see how you're doing. Number 1. When did you arrive blank London? So here you have to choose between in or on. When did you arrive blank London? Okay. What's the right answer? When did you arrive in London? Okay. That's the correct answer. All right, got it? When did you arrive in London? Why in London? Okay, again, if you watch my lesson on this subject about arriving, you'll see that we talk about 3 areas. I'm going to show you here, just quickly. We use arrive in to talk about cities and countries. So we say arrive in London, arrive in England, okay? Arrive in France, arrive in Los Angeles, okay? Cities, countries. We say arrive at when we're talking about specific places. For example, arrive at the Hilton Hotel, arrive at Heathrow Airport, okay? When we have the name of the particular place, okay? Or even at the hotel, at the airport, okay? And on, we don't really use so much. It's more as expressions. So arrive on time, arrive on schedule, okay? So here we were talking about London, which is a city. So we needed arrive in London. Okay, got it? But again, if you've got it wrong, not a problem. Watch that lesson, okay? There will be links underneath and you can go to that lesson and really watch it in full, master it, so you don't have to keep making the same mistake again and again, okay? Watch it once carefully, master it, understand it, and then do the quiz, do whatever you need to do so that after that, you won't have an issue with that kind of preposition again, okay? That's the way to master it, and that's the way to have fun with prepositions. Okay, number 2. I'll call her blank next week. Now your choice is between the preposition in or no preposition. So which is it? I'll call her blank next week. Okay, so the correct answer is I'll call her next week. So we need no preposition. So there are some times, believe it or not, when we don't need a preposition. And these are 4 of those words, okay? When we're talking about something like next week, next month, next year, okay, next season, next semester, or last, or every week, or each week, okay? So anything that has next, last, every, or each, before that, you need no preposition. Sometimes you don't have to work hard to figure out which preposition. You just have to remember that you need no preposition, okay? All right, number 3. My exam is blank Monday. Now your choice is between at or on, okay? My exam is blank Monday. So What's the right answer? My exam is on Monday. Okay? Why? All right, let's look over here for a quick review. But again, there is a complete lesson on this subject. And this is like, I think, the most common question when it comes to preposition. This particular one of at, on, and in. Okay? So, as a quick review, at we use for very specific times. At 7 o'clock, at noon, at midnight, at 7:30. Okay? Very specific. On is a little bit wider for one day or one date. So on Sunday, on January 1st, on New Year's Day, okay, like that. And in is the widest. So here we can include in October, in 1975, in the summer, things like that, okay? So that's the basic rule here. So again, here we were talking about Monday. So we're saying my exam is on Monday. All right, good. Number 4, they live blank Main Street. So do we say at or on? They live blank Main Street. They live, okay, stay with me, on Main Street, okay? On Main Street. So why? Let's look. If you had a number, okay, if you had the actual address, then we would say, I live at 14 Main Street. But if you don't have the number and you only have the name of the street or the road or the avenue or the boulevard or whatever, then you say on, okay? On Main Street. So at 14 Main Street, on Main Street, or if you just had the city, as I explained here, then you say in Chicago or in America, okay? Or in Japan and so on, all right? So that's what you choose when you're talking about addresses and places. So there's a special lesson where I really focus on those, like when you're describing where you live, because a lot of people get confused, you know, in this street, on this street, floor, on this floor, in this floor. So all of that I explained in the lesson about prepositions to do with where you live, okay? All right, number 5. I've worked here, blank, 3 years. Now your choices are for or since. I've worked here, blank, 3 years. This one is confused by lots of students. I think in different languages it doesn't always work this way. So a lot of students get it mixed up. So what do you think it is? I've lived here. Oh, sorry, I've worked here for 3 years. Okay? So why is the answer for 3 years? Because we use for followed by a period of time, okay? For 3 years, for 3 months, for 3 days, okay? Time period. But we use since plus a point in time. So since November, since the year 2012, okay? Since the summer. So since plus a point in time, but for plus a period of time, okay? So here it's for 3 years. It's a period of time, a length of time, right? But if I want to say since 2014, okay, then it's from the point in time when something began. So that's something that a lot of students get mixed up. So please watch that lesson. If you had that one wrong, it's not a problem. This is to tell you what's wrong, okay? This is to help you to know and to improve and to master it with fun, okay? All right, number 6. Blank the concert, it started raining. Now your choices are during or while. Okay? Blank the concert, it started raining. So which is it? The correct answer is during. Okay? During the concert, it started raining. So why during and not while? Do you know why? Okay, so let's look over here. We use during plus a noun, like here, during the concert. Okay? During the concert, during the show, during the movie, during the class, during the lesson, during the lecture. Okay? All right? Some kind of a noun. Okay? But while we use plus a clause. Okay? A dependent clause. So if I were to change this sentence to use while, I would have to say something like, while the concert was going on, okay, now you have a subject, you have a verb, but it's not a complete sentence, so it becomes something called a dependent clause. Then you would use while. But if you don't have a subject and a verb, and you just have a noun, right, like here, then you would say, during the concert, comma, it started raining. Okay? But again, if you're unsure or you want a little more clarification on that, go watch that lesson. Okay. Number 7. I read it blank the internet. I read it in or on. Okay, think about it. I read it blank the internet. So the correct answer is I read it on, okay? On the internet. Why? Is there a way to tell? Are we just guessing here? Actually, I figured out a way and I made a lesson on it for you to know about that kind of thing. So it's like this, and this is generally true, okay? So there's always a viewer who says a comment that says, what about this situation? And then that situation is always an exception. But the rule I'm telling you applies most of the time, okay? So it's like this. Okay, we use when we're talking about paper. For example, I read it in the newspaper. I read it in a magazine. I read it in a book. I read it in a report. Something that's physically paper, made of paper, okay? But if it's on some kind of electronic device, or like here, on the internet. Or we could say, I read it on my laptop. I read it on my cell phone, okay? I read it on the computer. So when it's something electronic, usually we're saying on. And when it's something paper, more traditional technology, we're saying in, okay? So that's a way for you to differentiate. But again, if you want a full clarification of that, go watch that lesson, okay? All right, number 8. We met blank the airport. Now your choices are to or at. We met blank the airport. So, what's the right answer? We met at the airport, okay? We met at the airport. What's the difference? Okay, nothing written down here right now. So again, I have a lesson about to and at. And what I'm explaining there is that to is talking about movement, okay? For those of you who watched that lesson, you probably remember me going like this. To is movement, and at is that you talking about a location, okay? So here, are we talking about movement or are we talking about location? We're talking about location at the airport. But if we said we drove blank the airport, now driving is like a movement, right? It's a direction. So then we would say we drove to the airport and we arrived at the airport, or we met at the airport, okay? So again, that's the difference between to for movement and at for location, all right? So how did you do on all of those? I hope you did well. And I also hope if you didn't do well that you learned a lot, because now you know exactly what you need to work on and where you're okay. And also, even when you got it right, if you just guessed, it's good to really understand it so that you can nail it. And again, nail it is an idiom, which means master it, really get it completely right. And enjoy learning English, because the more you enjoy yourself, the more fun you're going to have, the more you're going to learn, and the more you're going to improve. Okay? All right. So, thanks very much for watching. Please go to our website at www.ingvid.com to do a quiz on these, okay? And again, there will be links to each one of these lessons in case you got them wrong. Go check it out. Spend some time. You already invested in this, so might as well follow it up with what you really need, okay? And subscribe to my channel so I can keep giving you lots of other hints about how to learn English faster, okay? Thanks very much for watching. Bye for now.